Welcome back to the big board. I finally feel like, 100%, maybe even 98%. I'm feeling good. Not too much coughing, not too much boogers in the nose. So let's get some game going. One of the first things I thought I would do now that I'm feeling back up and at 'em, because I hadn't played in quite a while, is have some World at War time. Always got to do that. Storm in the Gap, scenario number 17, The Deceived. Interesting. One of the cool things about the World at War 85 sort of reboot from the old World at War from Lock and Load is that I really have tried to carry the scenarios and link them loosely together. So there's a general narrative about the progression of the war in the real world of the actual terrain and the place names and things like that. Now, obviously, the maps here don't have Wurzburg on it or Würzburg on it and all this other stuff and Frankfurt and all that, but it's giving you representative terrain, and so you can kind of follow along the stories. And I'll show you just here a little bit of from the scenario book. They leave there's a full page descriptor for every scenario, right? And so we can see that we're looking at scenario S17 here, right? And prior to that, there was S15 up on the top right-hand side, bottom right-hand side was S16, and we could follow along and goof around and see how the war progresses and all that sort of good stuff. I like that. This particular scenario, I picked it because it has a substantial number of units on the board, first of all, and then secondly, it has 3 night turns to kick things off. It's got some helos, it's got some ADAMs, it's got the artillery delivered mines, sorry for using acronyms. Lots of arty is going to be going down and should be fun. So what's the plan, Stan, as they say? Soviets have to come on the map, actually East Germans and Soviets, so the Warsaw Pact, either on the what is this? The eastern edge of the map or the southern edge of the map. And they have 3 objectives. The first is capturing this bridge up here. That's objective A. Objective C is capturing this bridge here. It's the only bridge that's up in that area there. And the third is all the way up here. This township hex is objective B that needs to be captured. Any 2 captured will give a marginal victory to the Warsaw Pact. Anything less than that is a US victory. Obviously, getting all 3 or securing all 3 would provide a decisive victory for the Warsaw Pact. So, the opposing forces, pretty interesting mix of units. Let's have a look at the Soviets first. They'll be bringing some HE and a limited amount of smoke, but then they have this formation here. This is the 4th Motorized Division. Basically, it's the 1-4 regiment or battalion. Well, it's not battalion. Yes, it would be a battalion, basically. So BMP2s, BMP1s. 10 infantry, 10 infantry platoons here, so 3 companies, so a battalion, and then some independent units that have been added. So there's some BRDM recon units, and we have an AT platform, a couple of T-55s. There's 3 T-55 platoons, so a company of T-55s have been added to the mix. We've got some mean long-range artillery, mobile artillery platforms, and some SAM platforms, which you'll see why we'll need those in a sec, and a few trucks. The truck's going to lug the mortar. There's a mortar unit loaded up here as well. Supporting that for the East Germans is the 3-4 battalion, which is basically just a swag of T-72s, 10 platoons of T-72s. They also will have a supporting AA platform as well. Coming on to the map later, we have aircraft. I've got this CAS unit. Then we've got another company. Let's see, yeah, another company. So we've got a full company of T80s hitting the map. I think that's turn 4. And then also some Hinds to cause all sorts of trouble for the erstwhile NATO forces. Let me just spin the camera back around. Sorry for that. Now, opposing them, defending, let's move down here. See what we can see. I'll zoom back out a little bit. Now we're already. I've already started playing, so we're 2 turns into this. In fact, it's the beginning of the 3rd turn, and I'll explain what has happened to date. We've got a small formation here of M1 Abrams, and I've not moved them at all. I've got another formation with some independent units attached, some AA platform stuff, also a mortar slash, I think, yeah, that's a mortar platform, and then an independent M1 platoon attached to these guys, which are from 8th ID, and we've got an infantry platoon here, another one here with a Dragon. Now, obviously, I'm supposed to put the Dragon on when I'm ready to use it, and then it stays with that particular unit, but that's where that guy's going to go. And I've got a 901 in the background there with a range of 13, ATGM platform, and their job is going to be focused on channeling the attack from the Soviets so that it comes in and goes this way and does not head up this way. The Soviets, the Warsaw Pact did have an opportunity. They could have just come in right along here, taken this, and then moved on. But there's a significant reinforcement stack coming on over there, which has Bradleys, more infantry, and chaparral, and some Stingers, and some tows and stuff. So they're all coming on the northern side of the map. And my guess is, if the Soviets were thinking, Warsaw Pact were thinking, if they come through here, well, you know, the Americans will come in behind us and retake that, right? So we'd have to garrison it, and then they'd have to assault it. It's going to take me more than 4 or 5 turns to get up there anyway, so I'm probably not going to try and take this as the Warsaw Pact. I'm going to focus on these 2 other targets here, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe a bad idea, I don't know. I've got the Soviet T-80s to come on yet, so that's a threat, which means that the Yanks will probably have to keep something up here to keep this covered. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm thinking of, as the NATO forces, we want to try and keep this as a kill box, potentially slow down anything that tries to move through here if we can. But there's there's no bridge laying equipment, so there are no bridges up except for this one bridge here, and then one bridge here. So the Warsaw Pact are going to have to come through this zone here, or go all the way up over here and come around. And with a 12-turn scenario, I don't believe there's enough time to do that. So what happened in the first 2 turns? Well, first 2 turns, Soviets came on. East Germans came on here. Let me just get that light out of the way. East Germans came on here. Yanks didn't move. It's dark. No one could see anything anyway, and everybody was out of range. There are thermal sights. I've got a question out on the World at War forum on Facebook about thermal sights at night. They're not specifically referenced in the rule book, well, at least not the one that came in the box, and I have not printed out a second copy of the updated stuff. So I wanted to check on thermals at night. I believe they count, but we'll see. Everybody moved once. No one got to move twice. The turn ended. Second turn came around. These guys all got to do something. They chose not to because, hey, it's night. They're waiting. And then we got a double end of turn, end of ops, without any activations for any of the Warsaw Pact units, which means come turn 3, the last turn of night, unfortunately for the Warsaw Pact, they will get their activation and they will be moving in the dark, literally, but they're basically a turn behind now, and that's going to pose problems for them. It means they're going to have to put a little bit of a hustle on to make things happen. So we're going to have to take advantage of our range 14 BMPs with their ATGM platforms, these guys here. Set those guys up in Overwatch and then see what they can plink at, and then push the infantry and the tanks through. Otherwise, it'll be a bloodbath in this zone here. We'll probably try and get some smoke up, but we know we're going to be facing off against artillery-delivered mines. That's another way for us to channel, as NATO, to channel the forces here, or at least slow them down. So all sorts of nasties are going to go on here, and with the double end turn on turn 2, shortening up the turn for the Warsaw Pact, it puts just that much more pressure on them. All right, I will be posting on social media about this as we go, and then we'll write it up later on, hopefully with a bunch of pictures that make some sort of sense. All the best. Talk to you soon. Go roll some dice. Ciao.